Nityanandam, what is your relationship with wealth? What are your beliefs with money abundance? My name is Mani Dedugananda. I'm from your presence hues. Today's video is about sharing my very own experience about my completion with the insecurity with wealth as well as the fear of poverty consciousness. So let me just share with you a little bit of my past, how I started forming all this wrong cognition about wealth and money. See, I grew up in a very poor family, a large family of 8, including my parents. We stayed in a village in early days in Singapore. I remember the first house that we stayed was a really old house, dilapidated house, and there were holes on the rooftop, a tap house. And during the rainy days, we used to carry pails to collect water. That's one of the memory I had. So, in my early days, the memory of my early days is I always see my parents fought over money, lack of money, and the fight could get into quite a violent state. And I always felt the insecurity that the money is so important. Without the money, people are not happy. At the time, when I was about 5, 6 years old, when I first started witnessing the fight between parents over money. So the very first cognition that I formed during those days was money is very important. It is important to lead a comfortable and happy life. So that was very first cognition that I had, and to me, I felt that money is like a security blanket for me. Without money, I feel utterly insecure. So, and also my idea about people who are wealthy, who has money, because of the kind of poverty that we live in during those village days. And I remember the neighbor kids who had the color TV when the color TV was in fashion. We only had the black and white TV. And obviously something new, we always ran to the house where they got the latest gadget. And we will be standing outside the doorway to try to peer through the gate to see the color TV. And these kids will not allow us to do it. They just basically cover the whole place with blankets. And one of the things that I felt is that people with money are not very friendly. People rich who are can be quite selfish. So these are the ideas I carry about people with money and wealth. So by and by, I started to I run my life based on these cognitions, these incomplete or ignorant cognition about money, wealth, and all that. So the moment I started working, started upon completion of my education in the degree, I started running. Literally, I was running, accumulating wealth. And I had the joy of seeing my bank balance growing, the zeros growing. And because of this insecurity with wealth, there are a few patterns I developed over the years. One, I am very risk averse. I do not take risky investment because I didn't like the idea of losing the money or seeing the bank balance going down. So I hardly make a investment decision. Second, I also am very prudent in the spending, the way how I spend money. And sometimes I will not allow myself to buy things that I like, to pamper myself once a while. I'll be so hard on myself, and sometimes it creates a lot of guilt and self-anger because of not having that desire fulfilled, which is kind of silly patterns that I developed over the years. It is also the same kind of pattern that make me not a generous person. So as a result of all this, I realized that I created a lot of bondage with money, with wealth. And as you can imagine, even after 8 to 9 years after working, I have accumulated certain amount of money. I have a great job. I have bank balance. I have pretty much all the material, comfort that I need in the outer world. But I was deeply not fulfilled, not happy. Inside, my inner space was filled with irritation and anger. So, and I realized that that cannot continue. It was only when I met my guru, his name is Paramasa Sri Nityananda, that he brought a lot of clarity and understanding in terms of my wrong relationship and cognition with wealth and money. So I remember I attended the very first program with him. It's called End Wealth, Enlightened Wealth. And in that 2-day program, I discovered about all the wrong cognition that I carry since beginning. I started to understand about money, and how my parents, incidents, a relationship with wealth affected the way how I perceive wealth and created a deep insecurity and fear of not having enough. That means I had this deep fear of being poor. I did not like the idea of being in poverty. So that kept me running and running and running, accumulating and accumulating and accumulating, which is a very unconscious pattern that I developed over the years. And also all this silly little cognition about wealth and abundance and all the reasons which make me suffer so much because of my basically wrong relationship with wealth that I suffer so much. Now, another thing that I discover is basically wealth is the amount of life energy you expressed. The more life you express, the more wealth you will attract and the more abundance we will have. So literally it's a straightforward equation. The more life you express, the more expansion you experience, you will attract wealth and abundance. So there's no question of being lazy or no question of escaping from life. When you are carrying the wrong ideas about being lazy and wanting to have it but not willing to do the work, or trying to escape life from the idea of spirituality or all that, no. My understanding is wealth and spirituality, they go hand in hand. There's no conflict at all. The other understanding that dawned on me was wealth is not a sin if it's created by you with your talent, creativity. It is a sin only when you grab or you steal from others or you swindle from others. So accumulation of wealth is just an extension of your energy, your life energy. So the more you express in terms of life energy, the more you attract in terms of abundance and wealth. And another thing that I learned when I started to complete with this wrong cognition about wealth is that my understanding about two types of wealth, Kubera wealth and Lakshmi wealth. See, Kubera wealth was what I was stuck with. The wealth of accumulation and hogging it. Accumulating and hogging it and not allowing myself to enjoy and not allow others to enjoy as well. So it's like a stagnant energy which does not allow expansion. Whereas a Lakshmi wealth is about the flow of life, flow of currency. And the more you circulate to more and more people, the more it comes back to you. So that was a big shift in terms of my understanding about abundance and Lakshmi wealth. So a big shift for me was to shift from Kubera wealth to the Lakshmi wealth, allowing the currency and the circulation of energy to flow to everybody. So now, if you ask me, I don't really deprive myself of not enjoying myself. I spend whenever I feel that, because one of the greatest understanding I have is Lakshmi is the inner richness. As long as I know a powerful inner space that I have, see, our inner space is like a Hiranyakaupa, basically a cosmic womb. You're able to manifest anything you want as long as you have a powerful inner space without fear and greed. So, to me, the inner richness is to have a powerful inner space to manifest whatever you want in the outer world. Hence, I don't hesitate to spend money as an investment to basically sharpen my powerful inner space. So, including like attending programs with Swamiji, like in Awakening. So, basically, that is a big shift for me in terms of understanding I'm the source of energy. I'm the energy that can create and manifest, not the physical possession. It is about ability to manifest. As long as I'm alive, breathing, I can manifest anything I want. That is the Lakshmi, that is the Kalpabruksha, the wish fulfilling tree. So that was a shift I realized when I completed with the patterns of insecurity with wealth. Now, finally, I also like to share with you is I also realized that while I enjoy whatever I had in my outer world, and also in manifesting and creating more and more possibility in my life, I also know that when it's time to let go, I will not hesitate to have a graceful exit, to leave behind the money, because I came without them and I also live without them. And so the ability to leave the money and let go, the wealth and abundance, is also one of the lessons that I learned from this completion. So with that, if you have any question about this video about completion with wealth, you can write it down and I'll be most delighted to answer the question. So with that, I hope that you truly enjoyed this video about my personal sharing of my completion with the insecurity with money, wealth, and abundance. With that, I thank you for listening. Nityanandam.